All right. So this one, sharpen the saw, the comfort zone. Now, I know you heard talks about the comfort zone. It's nothing new, but I wanted you to have a deeper understanding of the severity of the situation of it. Why is it that we don't read the books, we don't do the audios, we don't attend the classes, we don't master our craft? It blows my mind how we have aspirations, or as I like to say, we have uphill aspirations, downhill habits, as John C. Maxwell would say. Look him up; he's got some good stuff. But why? That the real question is the origin of why. We know we suck at speaking. We know we don't know what the heck we're talking about. We know we have issues, and yet we don't do anything preliminary to offset the garbage of our own foolishness and hubris. And then the question is, well, why? Well, I would argue free will. But the other issue is, I would say, this is why the Bible says God hates pride. Why does he say pride? Out of all the human emotions, pride is the one that is the most despised. And that is because he even says he hates a proud look. It's like saying, I hate cake so much, I hate pictures of it. Yeah. If you know, you know. Anywho, it's because pride disrupts the process for perfection. Now, obviously, we can't be perfect, but there's a perfect rendition of you. So, there is a process. Imagine your life is like making cookies. You need two eggs, flour, milk, butter, sugar. But pride says, well, I only need one egg. And instead of baking soda, I'm just going to use soda. Why? Because I can. I guess you can. It ain't going to be cookies after this, but. Oh, and I'm not even going to mix them together. I think they're going to mix on their own. You can see how that's ridiculous, but yet that's. You can see how ridiculous that sounds, and yet that's how many of us all operate in our life. I want a X result, but the process to get it, I'm going to bebop my way around it essentially. And under no other evidence except because I'm the main character. You are the main character, but main character doesn't mean you get absolved from the process. That is arrogant. So, not a long one. Want to really make this one short because it's a conundrum. Because it's funny. You can know something and still not execute on it. And maybe because human nature inherently we're lazy. The second thing would be because, as my father would say, an object at rest remains at rest. Physics. He also says an organism unchallenged likes to remain unchallenged. Therefore, the only way it seems that we actually like do what we need to do, the biggest motivator for action is pain. You know why people want to be successful? Because they know the pain of being broke or poor. You know why people like to gain wisdom? Because they know the price of being stupid. It's almost like when you have that long term thinking of the consequences, you begin to understand how important it is in tandem. So, in other words, if you can anchor your thinking in such a way to recognize the pain that will be caused for your inability to do what is necessary, you will take action. Now, that's going to require something called vision. It's going to require something called imagination. I think the third one's going to be called focus. But if your mind is so distracted, or as Uguay would say from Kung Fu Panda, your mind is like this puddle. The more agitated it becomes, it does things become very clouded and unclear. So you have to chill and recognize the things you can do. Also, I think the other thing I would suggest is if you are getting unfocused, do the thing that you know you need to do like immediately, like on the spot. Finger snap, because if you put it off, you're gonna forget, and then it just keeps mounding and mounding. And eventually, your brain is like scattered, like your room, unmade. That's a sign of a disturbed mind. That's why in therapy the rooms are always clean because they're trying to show you that an organized room organized mind. Everything affects you. I digress. Environment. Everything on the outside is a reflection of something that's going on the inside. You ever been in someone's car? Yeah. How about someone's room? Yeah. How about someone's workplace? Oh God, yeah. You ever been to someone's like work car and you're like, well, that's funny. One person's car is like clean and it's there's no dust, there's no food, and this other person's car, it's like, well, this looks like a health hazard. You can call OPPD. That's not even the right one. I forgot the one, the company that. Well, I'm not gonna edit this out. Now you know I'm human. But anywho, sharpen the saw. I believe it was Abraham Lincoln that said, "If you give me 7 days to cut down a tree, I'm gonna spend 6 days sharpening my axe." So, little perspective. There's people I know that they say, "Oh, I." Isn't it funny how the number one fear in America is public speaking, or number one fear in the world, right? Public speaking. People would rather get set on fire than public speak, and yet, in spite of this truth, you know how many people go to Toastmasters? So the question is, why is it that if we know we have a dysfunction, oh, I want a girlfriend, I want a wife, I want blank, I want this, I want that, and yet they don't do anything to facilitate that or be warned of that. Now, granted, you can do all these things and still lose, but it's interesting how they don't do anything. So then the real question is, why? Well, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. And not because I really want to hammer this home, because people are inherently lazy and they like to be comfortable. I notice when people don't take action for their life, I notice when people complain, I should say, there's an expression by an old adage that the dog on the nail, and they asked the old man, why does your dog like keep howling? He's like, oh, he's on a nail. You're like, well, why doesn't he just get up? They said, well, he said, it would take too much effort. The dog is in pain, but he's not in enough pain that warrants a change. Oh, man. Sometimes I think life will get hard just so you can do what you were supposed to do. I don't want things to get hard for you, but it's interesting how the only time you're provoked to take action, to make a change, to be provoked to purpose, I suppose, that's the word you want to use, is when things get really painful. Pain is the ultimate motivator. So use that to your advantage and anchor that onto your mind to avoid it or face it, whatever, and live the best rendition of yourself. You have your self-respect and dignity because you faced it, and be a best version of yourself. Now, some people will say, do the image of Christ. Hey, by all means. I'm going to do that in the next talk. But, yeah, there's that. So, my best advice to you is respect the industry you're in. Do not underestimate it, no matter what it is. Take it seriously. Amateur versus professional, right? The amateur is going to do it haphazardly, and a professional is going to do everything in their power to beat the crap out of you. That's why they're professionals. They get paid the big bucks. All right. And with that, that's it for this episode. Deuces. You have a blessed day. I'll talk to you later.